Petty past was a big thing in our world. Me living so close, I just kept going out there, putting my good energy, just going, okay, we're going to get out here. We're going to get out here. Hard to say, okay, I'm done, especially.
Hi, besties. Welcome back to my channel. I've been watching and covering Sister Wives here for 6 years now, not because I'm particularly invested in what the Brown family is doing, but because I deeply care about exposing the harms of polygamy. This lifestyle causes immense damage to women and children, and it also devastates young men who are often cast out of these communities. It's heartbreaking to see an entire subculture conditioned to believe that their only path to heaven is through plural marriage and the patriarchal dominance of men over their wives and children. And while not every woman within polygamy is bad, some certainly use the system for manipulative and cruel purposes. This episode in particular made that painfully clear, not just through what was said, but also through what was left unsaid. It wasn't just what Robyn said, but also what she chose not to say that made me realize, once again, that she's completely disingenuous. I've known this for a long time, but it became even clearer after the family's heartbreaking tragedy when Garrison Brown took his own life. At the center of that story was a young man who had been pushed away by his father, whether out of spite, anger, or jealousy, and whose relationship with his dad's manipulative, narcissistic, and perpetually victim-playing wife made things even worse. Garrison was always a truth teller, and because of that, he became a target, bullied and criticized by Robyn Brown for years. Robyn spent 4 or 5 seasons manipulating Kody, constantly stirring him up about his sons and portraying herself as the victim. She complained that one of the boys had the audacity to call her about the COVID rules, acting offended that anyone would question her role. She'd say things like, "These aren't my rules. You've got to blame somebody, so I'm an easy target," all while subtly shifting responsibility and fanning the flames of division. She often played the martyr, claiming she didn't sign up for monogamy and was tired of being questioned, framing herself as the misunderstood outsider. Robyn repeatedly said she was worried about the kids not seeing their dad, while simultaneously fueling the very conflict that caused that distance. She even labeled herself the Brown family scapegoat, suggesting Garrison should be the one to reach out and apologize to her. Later, she mentioned getting texts and calls from Gabe and Garrison blaming her for what was happening, but instead of reflecting on her role, she used it to reinforce her narrative of victimhood. Robyn often claimed that certain family members refused to accept or make peace with others, yet her own words and actions told a different story. She insisted she loved Kody's sons and wanted to clear the air, but simultaneously portrayed herself as a victim being forced to choose between her own children and the group, saying she didn't feel her kids were welcome. When questioned about when they were supposedly unwelcome, it came out that Kody had told Janelle's boys they couldn't come for Christmas without a big apology, something they rightfully refused to do. Kody later justified the rift with Garrison and Gabriel as a lack of support or adherence, comparing their behavior to that of a dysfunctional family, while Robyn continued to deflect blame, saying, "These aren't my rules," and insisting she had nothing to do with the family's conflict. But the truth is, Robyn has never treated Kody's other children like kids. Instead, she's held grudges against them for not accepting her immediately, blaming them for any discomfort her own kids experienced. Rather than acting as a mature adult trying to unite a blended family, she turned normal childhood reactions into personal offenses. Children act out when they're hurting, when they see favoritism, neglect, or emotional manipulation, and Kody's older kids clearly saw how differently he treated Robyn's children compared to them. Robyn perpetuated an us versus them mentality for years, labeling kids like Hunter as problems, simply because they didn't pretend she was their mother. Instead of showing empathy, she weaponized those strained relationships as emotional leverage in the family drama, using them as evidence of her own victimhood rather than opportunities for healing. I'm a mom, and it's not my place, or hers, to get angry at a kid for simply being a kid. If Robyn truly were the great communicator she claims to be, she would have realized long ago that turning Kody against his own children would have devastating, lasting effects on the family. That truth was especially obvious in this episode. During the segment about Mykelti moving, Robyn wasn't interviewed once. She had absolutely nothing to say about Mykelti leaving, no reflections, no emotional insight, not even a token soundbite. This was the same woman who once tearfully called Mykelti her baby. Yet, in this episode, Mykelti didn't mention Robyn at all, not negatively or otherwise. Christine explained that her daughter was moving partly to escape the constant drama, something Mykelti herself had been open about. She was simply tired of being caught in the middle. Mykelti also admitted that her relationship with Robyn shifted after Garrison's death, as Robyn's behavior during that time felt unnatural and inconsistent. Instead of tragedy pulling the family together, Robyn's reactions only deepened the divide. Whether her interview was cut or never filmed, there was zero commentary from her about it. The only thing she did express emotion over was Coyote Pass and money. Robyn cried over the thought of selling off the Coyote Pass lots, parcels of raw, untouched land that had sat empty for 5 years. No homes, no progress, just dirt. Yet she wept as if it were sacred ground, calling it a symbol of our family. The truth was clear. Robyn alone was holding up the sale, clinging to some fantasy of a united, polygamous family that no longer existed. Even more telling was how she referred to Kody's other children, not as our kids or my stepkids, but his kids. It's strange, considering she's been his legal wife for over a decade. Her language reveals how she truly sees them, as outsiders. She separates herself from them, maintaining an us versus them mentality. When she told Kody she wanted a home where their kids could feel comfortable and added, "When your kids decide they want to come over," that phrasing wasn't accidental. It's deliberate emotional distancing. She said, "your kids," more than once, subtly drawing a line between her family and his past. Then there's Kody, spinning the same narrative of deflection. When Christine mentioned Mykelti's exhaustion and disappointment with the family dynamic, Kody responded coldly, blaming trash talk and innuendo for damaging trust and loyalty. Robyn, again, stayed silent. No empathy, no accountability, nothing. Kody's comments were especially cruel given that Mykelti had spent her adult life trying to hold that fractured family together. She acted as a bridge between her parents, supported her siblings, and maintained ties with Robyn when she didn't have to. She did everything she could to preserve a sense of family, yet Kody dismissed her as disloyal. That's because in Kody and Robyn's world, family isn't about love or connection, it's about hierarchy and allegiance. To them, affection is conditional, and belonging is something you earn through loyalty to their version of the truth. He's basically saying, "I don't trust you to protect our image anymore." That's what it boils down to. Kody and Robyn's love for Mykelti was always tied to obedience, and now that she's finally speaking up, even in the mildest way, they see it as betrayal. It's incredibly ironic because just last week on Patreon, Mykelti herself said that the only way to have a relationship with Kody is to be completely submissive. If you don't constantly praise him or tell him exactly what he wants to hear, he shuts down. There's no real communication, only compliance. And now we're seeing that play out. For years, Mykelti was afraid to speak honestly because she knew this exact outcome would follow. But what makes this moment so cruel is Robyn's silence. Kody is publicly throwing Mykelti under the bus, the one daughter who worked tirelessly to keep the family connected, and Robyn just sits there, quietly watching it happen. She doesn't speak up. She doesn't defend her. She doesn't even look uncomfortable. And that silence says everything. Let's not forget Mykelti is the reason so many fans even gave Robyn the benefit of the doubt for so long. Mykelti visited her home, praised her parenting, included her in her life events, and stood by her when the rest of the family distanced themselves. Robyn called that family unity back then, but now that Mykelti isn't obedient enough, that same loyalty suddenly doesn't matter. When Kody tears into Mykelti on national television, accusing her of gossip and disloyalty, Robyn offers nothing. No compassion, no correction, not even basic humanity. It's clear now that Robyn never saw Mykelti as a daughter. She saw her as a prop, a useful piece in her narrative. Kody and Robyn's affection was conditional, built on ego, control, and image management, not love or decency. And honestly, this is exactly why Mykelti's relationship with Kody has fallen apart. She's watched him do the same thing to her siblings, and for years she tried to defend him, even taking his side just to stay in his good graces. That's what children of manipulative parents often do. They play the peacemaker, desperate for approval. But now it's backfired. Some people might say she should have seen this coming. But remember, Robyn came into her life when Mykelti was around 12 or 13. That's a vulnerable, impressionable age. Robyn gained her trust, used her loyalty, and then discarded her once she stopped serving their narrative. Now, after Garrison's death, Mykelti is processing enormous grief. And instead of offering compassion, Kody and Robyn criticize her for expressing pain. Kody constantly trash talks everyone else, but when one of his children dares to voice hurt, it's disrespect. The hypocrisy is staggering. Later in the episode, when they discuss making space for the kids, Robyn again refers to them as his kids, not theirs. She says she wants room for their children and his kids, making it painfully clear she still separates the family. Then Kody mentions Truly, pretending that if they just had more space, she might visit. But we all know space isn't the problem. Emotional neglect is. Truly doesn't stay away because she lacks a room. She stays away because she doesn't feel loved or included. Whenever she's there, Kody ignores her in favor of Solomon and Ariella. She's invisible in that home. And the timing of all this? Suspicious. Kody suddenly starts talking about making space for Truly right before Christine files for child support, visitation, and custody. It's not about love. It's about optics. Even when Robyn reacts to this, it's not with empathy. She rolls her eyes, then shifts the focus back to what she wants. A bigger house. The whole conversation becomes about square footage and luxury, not relationships. She says things like, well, I want my space, my business, space for the grandkids, as Kody nods along, fully aware that spoiling her is the only way to keep her happy. In the end, this episode makes one thing undeniable. Robyn's mask has completely slipped. She and Kody threw Mykelti, the one person who tried to keep peace, under the bus for daring to tell the truth. It's manipulative, hypocritical, and honestly, disgusting. So what do you think? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new upload. Thanks for watching, besties. See you next time.